Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Life got a little bit hectic for me. I made a trip up to Oregon as a road trip, had a lot of fun with that. Saw some family, so things are kind of hectic, but I'm back now. Hopefully I'll be keeping up with at least releasing a video every week to every other week if things get really, really bad. There has been some major changes, and probably the first one is very recognizable. For those of you who have seen my videos, you probably recognize where it is I'm standing. You probably also recognize something very important is missing. That's right, this is what used to house my Mark IV Supra, and it's not here. I did sell the car. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, why the hell would I do that? You know, the Supra is an awesome car, probably one of the best cars ever made. I agree with you, but for right now, I had some reasons why to sell it, and I will go ahead and let you know that. They might make sense to you, they might not, but you know, for me where I was, it made sense. But don't worry, I am not getting another car that's like a Honda Civic. I'm not going to be getting a Jeep or a minivan. I'm getting another fast car, and actually I'm going to leave it up to you guys as to whether or not I let you know where it is. Go ahead and post in the comments down below. Do you want to be surprised to see what the next car I get is, or do you want me to go ahead and record my journey as I go on to find this next car? So I will leave that up to you. Go ahead and post in the comments down below, and depending on my responses, I'll either take you through my entire shopping process of this new car, or I'll wait till I get it and I'll reveal it to you all live. So with that, I will go ahead and take you through my thought process as to why I sold that absolutely phenomenal, legendary car, my Mark IV Supra. Some of you may or may not know that actually my red Mark IV Supra wasn't my first. This is actually the second Supra I've owned in my life. My first Supra I owned back in 2007. I sold it back in about 2010, 2011. And that was the car I absolutely loved. I had a full Bomex body kit. I had the APR GT2 wing. Yes, I was kind of building a tribute car to the Fast and Furious, but it wasn't a complete replica. That car, I had about 805 horsepower to the wheels, and then I had a 75 shot of nitrous oxide on top of that, making that car just an absolute beast, but it was also very unruly for the street. By the time I sold that car, I had just graduated film school and I was trying to get started in Hollywood, so I wasn't making a lot of money. And usually when I was working, they were having me carry a whole bunch of gear and equipment, so the Supra wasn't practical. And that's why I sold my first Supra. It actually got sold to some guy out in Sweden. I always regretted selling that car. Every car I had after that, I always compared to the Supra. After that, I had a 2010 Camaro, which was, in my opinion, probably one of the most boring cars I've ever owned in my life. I had a FD3, absolutely great car, love that car. I know they have the negative mystique with the engine. I never had an issue with my rotary. I did do a Supra versus RX-7 comparison video. I'll go ahead and leave a link to that in the description down below and probably post a banner above my head. You can go ahead and watch that. You can see I still love the FD. If I didn't use it as a daily driver, I think it's probably one of the best cars out there. After the FD, I had an R32 GTR. I was probably one of the first 50 to 100 cars brought in when we discovered the 25-year exemption rule. And it was a fun car, but after a while, as a daily driver, right-hand drive isn't a lot of fun, and getting parts for it would sometimes take like 3 weeks or more. So there again, as a daily driver, it wasn't great. I also did a comparison video where I compared the Supra with the R32 GTR. A buddy of mine has one, so there again, I'll leave a link to the description down below, or I'll post a banner above my head. If you want to check out that video, you can do that as well. So one thing I realized is after all those cars, the one thing I always did was compare it to my Supra, how they just were not as good as a Supra. And realizing that, I sold the R32 GTR with the express purpose of getting another Supra. And it took about 8 months of searching. I had to go all the way to the other side of the country, and that's where I found my Supra that I just sold. It was in pretty rough condition. The guy who owned it before me was literally a complete idiot. There again, I talked about it in my video of the evolution of the Supra, which there again, if you want to watch that video, link in the description down below, banner above my head. And I had a lot of fun bringing it back to life. You know, I refinished the dash, the seats were shot, I replaced those. The engine was strong, it had strong compression and passed the leak down test, and the transmission was fine. So I knew I could deal with most of that stuff with the car. And so I got to work rebuilding it. And I took it quite a ways, to the point that that's part of the reason why I was okay selling the Supra, was that aside from doing injectors and an AEM Infinity, I'd really taken the car about as far as I could. And that's part of the reason why I got rid of it. I'm really enjoying doing the YouTube thing, and I started too late with the YouTube. A lot of the stuff was already done on the car by the time I'd started. I had already done the suspension. I really regret not filming the twin turbo to single turbo conversion work I did. I didn't show any of the fuel management stuff. And so if I wanted to continue with the channel, to be honest, I was really struggling coming up with things to do on the car for you guys to see. I was doing the comparison videos, which was a lot of fun, and I probably would have continued doing those, but I kind of felt like you guys probably wanted a little bit more variety. So that's one reason why I sold the Supra. One was because of the YouTube channel. I didn't feel there was a lot more I could do with the car on the channel. And two, there wasn't a lot more that I could do to the car myself. Really, it was just injectors, ECU, throw in a black carpet, and the car was going to be done. And I have to tinker with my cars. I like to wrench on my cars, I like to work on them, so it was kind of hitting the end of its run. The next reason why I was okay selling the Supra was my life is actually changing. So back when I had my first Supra, I was single. I had removed the rear seats and put a sub box there. And, you know, I was pretty much me in my mid to late 20s. I'm currently in my mid to late 30s, and my life's changing. I got married about 2 years ago. The wife is wanting kids, and we tend to take my car more than her car for some reason, even though she's got a Camry. So it really, in the future, was probably going to cause issues. The other thing too is when I had my first Supra, it was only about, what, 12, 13 years old. The car is now 25 years old. And like I said, although I love working on the car, my wife tends to get a little upset when I start spending money on parts. And I was having to, you know, work on the car to just kind of keep it up to what I consider my level of acceptable operation. You know, like the rear seat broke, I did a video on how to fix that. The AC was having issues, I fixed it, I did a video on how to do that. And, you know, there's various other things, you know, like, you know, the bushings were getting old on the suspension, so those are probably going to be about due to be replaced. You know, I did the suspension on it because it had the actual stock shocks and springs, which was a bit shocking, and of course the stock shocks were shot. So the car was needing maintenance. The cool thing is, as you do that type of maintenance though, you do it once and it's done, you don't have to worry about it. But the wife was getting a little upset about the amount of money on the car, so she wants me to get something a little newer. To be honest, I'm also in law school, which is eating up a certain amount of my free time. So getting a car that's a little bit more turnkey on a regular basis, probably not the worst idea in the world. And the final reason why I sold it was I got a pretty good offer on the car. I'm not going to tell you how much I bought it for, which was pretty low, or how much I sold it for, which is pretty decent, because the guy who bought my car might be watching these videos, and I just don't want to do that to anybody. For those of you that are interested in buying a Supra, and for those of you who are maybe tempted to sell your Supra, you can go ahead and send me a private message. I'll let you know how much I sold it for. That way you guys can better gauge the market. So I got an amount for it that I was happy with. It puts me in the range I want to be at to get the next car, which I'm already considering. So it was just kind of, the situations all kind of lined up to say, yeah, this is probably about the right time to sell the Supra. And those are pretty much my reasons for selling the Supra. Yes, I'm going to miss it. Yes, it's a legendary car. Yes, it's worthy of all the accolades it gets. in my opinion, probably one of the best cars ever engineered. I will miss it. There's certain things I won't miss. I will not miss people shouting, "Is that a Supra?" at least 6 times a day at me, because I've seen that video on YouTube. So that I won't miss, but let's be honest, that's probably about it, man. That was, if you're considering getting a Supra and it's within your ability to do so, just do it. You're never gonna regret it. It's a phenomenal car. But that's enough of the depressing stuff. Let's talk about some fun stuff. That's right, shopping for another car. I know some people hate car shopping. I absolutely love it. I've already started. I've started researching the car. I know the car inside and out. You can see my video on my 4 steps when I go shopping for a car. Once again, you're probably tired of hearing this in this video. I'll post a link in the description down below and post a banner above my head. But it really is my steps for buying a car, and it's worked out for me really well throughout my life. So I'm actually really excited about it. I love car shopping. It's so much fun test driving cars, you know, seeing what's out there. I actually do enjoy the negotiation and all the whole process of it. So there again, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Do you wanna be surprised by the car I get and I'll unveil it when I finally buy one? Or do you want me to continue to record me as I'm shopping so you can go along this whole experience with me as I try and find the exact car I'm looking for and I actually get it? Sorry for the abrupt change. My wife came home. She actually gets the parking spot now, so there was a bit of a bonus to her when I sold the Supra. But like I was saying, if you want to see everything on my steps of picking up the new car, go ahead and post in the comments down below. If you want to be surprised as to what the next car is, there again, post in the comments down below. Let me know what you want. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date, especially with a brand new car on the way. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all out on the road.